Hello everybody, my name is the Bread God, and this isn't my usual video. I don't normally do videos on techie stuff like I am here, but if you clicked on the video, you are here for one thing, and that is to improve your Forza Horizon 5 experience on lower end and mid-range PCs. Now, you can use these if you want on a higher end PC to optimize your frame rate, keep temperatures low, whatever you're doing. This will work there too, but this is mainly for people like me who have that middle range PC, and most of the people I know who have that lower end, who still want to play this game and get the most out of it, but also don't want to kill their performance and make their computer really hot while doing it. So today I'm doing an optimized settings guide for all those people, so let's get into it. So as you can see, I've got the beautiful Bugatti Chiron in the background. That's going to be our test car for pretty much all of the video. So first we are going to do lower end PCs. Now for all of you out there with lower end PCs, I get the struggle. Before upgrading this PC I'm on right now, it was like an entry-level Dell Inspiron desktop. It wasn't great at playing anything. I couldn't even play Horizon 4 at low graphics without tons of stuttering. So I feel you guys right now. I want you to start by going to your graphics settings and setting it to custom. Now this will turn everything up to the maximum, don't worry, we're not leaving it there. Alright, so let's start with anisotrophic filtering. You're going to want to set that to medium for the best balance between quality and not having the textures look really bad, but also not killing your frame rate in the process, because on high it's pretty intensive. Medium is a good middle ground. Shadow quality, you're going to want to set this to high. Now, I know that might seem a bit daunting, but it's not intensive until you get it to ultra, and low just looks really bad. Same with off, so set it to high. Night shadows, you're going to keep these off. They basically add nothing to the game. They add nice headlights, like nice headlight effects, but they can reduce your performance by 15 frames at night. And if you're doing a lot of racing, like campaign-wise, you're going to be racing a lot at night, so keep that off. Motion blur quality, you're going to want to put it on medium, because low is bad to look at. It uses some different type of motion blur that looks really awful. Medium should be fine, but if you want something higher, you can go higher ultra, because this makes basically no difference to performance. Environment texture quality, if you're on a low-end PC, you're going to want to set this to either low or medium, depending on how much VRAM you have. I would stick with medium if you can, but low would also make a good choice here. Environment geometry quality, put that on medium. That affects how many bushes, grass, rocks, all that kind of stuff on the ground. It also affects like model quality outside of your car. Low doesn't look great, so I recommend going with medium. MSAA, you're going to want to turn this off, and I will show you how to get rid of the jagged edges without MSAA a little bit later. SSAO quality, turn that off. It makes little difference to image quality, but if you're playing to take screenshots, I would turn it to high. It makes a bit of a performance difference, but it can make the game look a bit better. Reflection quality, you're going to put that at medium or low. There's not much of a difference, but very low looks really bad, so I'm going to stick it with low. World car level of detail, once again low, looks pretty awful. Medium's a good middle ground here, but if you want screenshots, I recommend high. Formable terrain quality makes basically no difference to looks, but it can affect your performance, so either off or medium. SSR quality, this affects the puddles in the road. I would recommend low. Lens effects, put this as high as you can, preferably high or ultra. It makes very little difference, or how the game performs, but it can add some nice effects, especially at night. It can add like a nice sort of glow to the game. I'd say high is great, but ultra if you can. Shader quality, you're going to want to turn that to medium. If you want to have SSAO on, you have to have this at high, so it depends on what you want there. Particle effects quality, you're going to stay away from low and very low, because it does not look great. Unless you're having performance issues on medium, switch to low, but stay away from very low. It looks really bad. Alright, these are our optimized settings for those PCs. I'm going to go ahead and apply them now, and I'll be right back to show you what they look like. Alright, so here we are. We're back in the main menu after restarting the game, so you're just going to load things up like usual. Sometimes it'll reset your graphics, so make sure they stayed. It's pretty rare though, so don't worry about that too much. You might get this optimizing for your PC message. You're going to want to sit and wait through that. I know it's going to be long, depending on how powerful your computer is, but it improves performance, and if you skip it, it can cause some pretty bad issues, or it could just reset the progress, and you'll have to sit through this again. Alright, I've been sitting here for a while, and it finally finished. It took a bit of time, so we're finally back in game. There's a noticeable difference in quality from Ultra, but that's gonna be obvious. Alright, now that we've gotten rid of the copyrighted music, as you can see, the game still looks like, just on any setting other than very low, this game looks incredible. Anyway, let's get to driving a bit. I'll show you a few of the other biomes. I have to turn down that volume because it appears it's very loud for you guys. So this does not fix the fact that I'm not a good driver at all, but let's just ignore that for a bit. So as you can see here, you're approaching that lush foresty type area. With these settings, you keep a lot of the foliage and the thick density of the forest. You do lose a bit of that texture quality, but that's kind of to be expected with the low or medium settings. If you want, you can put it on high, but it's a bit risky for a low-end machine. Draw distances aren't great. There is a bit of pop-in, but I've found that that's kind of noticeable on every setting, even on Ultra. Let's go and max this thing out. Not only is this a very good-looking car, it's also a very fast car. As you can see, there is a bit of aliasing up in the distance, but I'll show you guys how to fix it just after this. So last time I drove this down the highway, I got to 274, so let's see if we can beat that. 270, come on. 272, come on, push. 5, please. No, we're losing speed again. Alright, I think 274 is the best we're going to get with this thing. So let's just stop here now. Alright, so in just a second here I'm going to display the average frame rate compared to the default low settings. As you can see, there's not a huge difference, and it looks a lot better. So yeah, the card I would recommend for this is if you're running the minimum spec machine, which is a GTX 970 or an RX 460, I think is the minimum. I'm not entirely sure on that. But this still looks pretty good, and it's a pretty enjoyable experience, in my opinion. By the way, I'm recording this on an RX 590, which is the recommended card for this game. So the frame rates that I'm showing will be on that card. It may differ for you because you're less powerful or more powerful card, but it should give you an idea of the performance gains you get from these settings. Alright, now for the higher end and mid-range PCs. Alright, so for higher end and mid-range PCs, once again, you're going to go to the custom settings. You're going to leave anisotropic filtering at high. Shadow quality, you're going to want to turn that from extreme to high. Night shadows off, like before. Motion blur, high. Leave environment texture quality and geometry quality at ultra. This makes the game look super depthy. I don't even think that's a word. You get what I mean. I'll show you once I'm playing on it. MSAA at 2 times. FXAA off. SSAO quality high. Reflection quality, I recommend high, but you can go up to ultra. World car level of detail, you're going to want to put that at either high or ultra. High looks fine. Ultra for the screenshots, in my opinion. Deformable terrain quality, this makes very little difference, so either medium or high should work for you. SSR quality, leave that as is. Lens effects, ultra. Shader quality, ultra. Particle effects quality, medium, because it makes no difference at high or ultra other than killing your frame rate. Alright, so I'm going to restart the game now. While the game's loading, I'm going to show you guys what to do to help anti-aliasing whenever you have it off or at low amounts. If you want to fix that aliasing, you're going to want to go to Radeon Image Sharpening, or whatever your drivers are. It should have an image sharpening filter, and set that from anywhere to 40 to 70 depending on how sharp you want the image to look. That should help a lot with the jagged edges. If you have a FreeSync or G-Sync monitor, turn that on because it looks a lot smoother. So I don't actually have to optimize for my PC this time, which is a bit surprising because we had to do it last time. We're just going to give it a second to load here. Alright, so as you can see, we now actually have particle effects like rain. There's a whole lot more complexity to the scene, but this runs a fair bit better than the ultra graphics. Let's just start driving a bit. I'll show you what I mean by depthy. Yeah, so the rain particles that were flying around on the screen, those weren't there at the other settings. But you win some, you lose some, you know. I'm gonna stop here just for a sec so you guys can see what that looks like. I'll do a direct comparison in just a second here. Alright, I don't feel like driving all the way to the highway so we can max out the car, so I'm gonna just fast travel because I'm lazy. Alright, here we go. There's a bit of a storm off in the distance that wasn't there whenever we started. I wonder if we can drive into it. The interior still looks fine. It looks a bit better, obviously, but not much of a difference there. We're back to where we were. Alright, so I'll show you what I mean. So here's a side-by-side comparison again. You can see the cacti there. I'm gonna go into drone mode, actually. Stuff like the cacti, they're way more complex. You see all the needles on them now. Rocks on the ground, there's tessellation, all of that good stuff. But it isn't actually that performance heavy compared to the ultra settings, which look basically identical. So up on screen now are the benchmarks between ultra settings and these optimized settings. For these settings, I recommend an RX 590 8GB or a GTX 1660. Alright, and now onto some extra juicy tips and tricks to help you get the most out of your computer outside of Forza from just changing the settings, you know. So, first off, you're going to want to copy the settings I have here if you have an AMD card. I think the NVIDIA controls look similar, if not the same. But yeah, try and get these as close as you can. Most GPU drivers, apart from Intel integrated, I think, have a clock speed modifier. I recommend going in here, changing your card's max frequency by about 2% intervals until you start seeing crashes and instability. I find 5% to be quite safe. You get a few extra frames. Next, you're gonna want to go to Control Panel on your computer. Then go to Hardware and Sound, Power Options, and change to High Performance or Ultimate Performance, depending on which one you have available. In Settings here, you're going to want to go here. This isn't available on AMD cards, but Hardware Accelerated GPU Scheduling, that'll be a setting whenever you search it up. Turn it on, gives you a few extra frames here and there. And last but not least, kind of a stupid tip that everyone would give you, go into Task Manager here while the game's running and make sure that nothing's hogging up your CPU or GPU or RAM or disk for that matter. Alright guys, that just about wraps it up for this video. If you enjoyed, hit the like button, hit the dislike button. If you didn't like it, I mean, I know you can't see them, but they're still there. This is a little bit of a break from regular videos. Tito, I know. You don't have to clown on me for this. I just wanted to take a break. Ah!